The following is a video tutorial for the Intro to Model Making with Fusion 360 activity, and this is going to highlight part number 1. As you can see in the graphic that we have for this part, there are dimensions that are applied to it, and we're going to start out by creating this L shape here from a side profile. We're going to make that 3.5 inches long, 2.5 inches tall. We're going to bring this top piece 1 inch forward, as you can see denoted there. We're then going to jump down to this bottom corner. I can see the height of this leg is 1 inch. And then I'm going to jog this back. And I just have to do a little math here. 3.5 minus 1 is 2.5 to get to this point. And then again, a little math. I have a total height of 2.5 and 1 inch on this leg, which means the leftover here will be 1.5. In Fusion, I'm going to start off by clicking on Create a Sketch and select this back surface on the right hand side. Once it rotates my screen into 2D mode, I'll grab my line tool. Always good to use the origin whenever possible, so I'm going to click there first, drag out to the right and type 3.5 on my keyboard and hit enter to solidify that line. Grab the line tool again. From this point going up, my total height 2.5, hit enter. Line tool. From here out to the right, 1 inch. From that point straight down, 1.5 inches. And to finish the sketch from that point to here, we're looking at 2.5. Last line, connect the dots, 1 inch. If you want, you can rearrange these dimensions. If you don't like where they landed, you can always push them around. But this is the profile we're looking for. 2.5 inches tall, 3.5 inches long, 1 inch over here, 2.5 to this point, 1.5 going up, and 1 inch across. I'm going to click on Finish Sketch. It's going to rotate me back into three-dimensional mode. From there, I want to click on Extrude. Click on the profile. I can start off by grabbing this arrow and dragging the shape forward, but I do have a specific number, a dimension for how far that should go. And if I look up across the top here, I can see I have a 1/2 of an inch plus 1.5 plus 1/2 of an inch. So my total depth here will be 2.5 inches. So I want to set this extrusion to 2.5 and hit enter on the keyboard to solidify that. Now that I have this shape on the screen, my next step is to create the cutout here. The cutout will be a 1/2 inch off the top. From the left-hand side, moving off to the right, I have a 1/2 inch. It's going to drop down a 1/2 of an inch. The width of it will be 1.5 inches. And then I just need to bring that cut up from there. So what is that going to look like on my part? I'm going to start a sketch. Click on this back surface here. And there are multiple ways to do this. The route that I'm going to take is going to use the 2-point rectangle. I'm going to click along this top line here to start my 2-point rectangle and just drag out to the right. I want that highlighted dimension to be 1.5, my width of that shape. And if I hit Tab on the keyboard, I can switch between these. Switch to my other dimension, make it 0.5, and hit enter. That created the shape that I need, but I still need to get it in the right position. To do so, I'm going to utilize the dimension tool. Select the left side here, then this line on the left side of my rectangle to place this dimension. So referencing those two edges to place the dimension, I want that to be exactly 0.5 and hit enter. Now that I have that in position, I can say Finish Sketch and extrude that shape. This time, instead of pulling it out, I want to send it into the part and remove that material. So just by dragging it backwards, it switches the operation here to cut. Please note that you can change this at any given time. If you want it to actually be a join, you can switch it back to that. But it's going to be kind of intuitive and try to guess what you want, which for this case is exactly that. I want to cut out that shape. And then I have my last cutout to do down here. If I check the numbers, that's going to be 1 inch off the end. It's going to be the total height of this, so 1 inch totally tall, and then 1.5 inches back and a 1/2 inch gap in the middle. So those are my numbers. Let's go ahead and draw those in. I'm going to create a sketch. And I could do this on the front surface. I could do it on the top. I prefer to do it on the top, so I'm going to look at it from here. Grab a 2-point rectangle. Again, just get the basic dimensions down. So 1.5, tab, 0.5, enter. And then with the dimension tool, same kind of deal. We're going to reference these two edges and make it exactly 1 inches. That should center everything up. And if I finish sketch and click on my home next to my view cube, I can see that if I go to extrude and select that profile, I can drag it down and through the part and cut it away. That is our completed shape. As with anything, the last step is to check your properties and see if they're matching. So to do that, you want to click on the top line item here in the browser list. We're going to right click and go to properties. And then here we can minimize, general, and manage. And we want to hone in on the physical tab. And really we're looking at volume and area. Volume should be exactly 11 and the area should be exactly 41. If we check our document, those are the exact two numbers, 11 and 41. So when you have matching numbers, I'd like for you to go through the self-assessment and fill in the chart for that. The last step, of course, as with anything, is to save. Go ahead and name that model making activity. Part number 1. Save that to our folder. Ready for the next one.